Still in Nigeria, Lagos State government has launched commercial train operations today, with Góvernór Babajide Sanwo-Olu being the first passenger at Marina Station. LAMATA's managing director, Abimbola Akinajo, announced partial passenger operations starting on Tuesday with 76 trips per day. The Blue Line rail moved from Marina to Mile 2. And LAMATA has been delivering passengers free on board since its inauguration in December 2022. News Central's Adesewa Odusoga is with me in the studio for more on this. Adesewa, nice to have you join us.
Thank you, Lekan, for having me.
Well, you were on ground at the unveiling at the launch of the Blue Rail Line. What is your assessment of the rail system?
Oh, it's quite a historic and very laudable project by the Lagos State government, if you ask me, because Lagos State, as you have it, is quite a populated state of about 20 to 21 million population, and we know what the traffic congestion on the road is like for an economic capital of that nature in Nigeria. And then we see that the movement of people is very paramount in Lagos State, and then having a higher population of people now diverting their attention to the train station instead of the road. Don't forget that we still have the water transportation as well. It's quite a laudable project, and looking at the construction, it's quite laudable, it's quite comfortable. There are so many guidelines for you to use. It's really a comfortable thing to use. I mean, having a lot of people going all the way from Marina down to Mile 2, you'll agree with me that those are very busy areas where you have the Alaba International Market, one of the largest markets in Lagos State. I can even say in Nigeria. I beg to be corrected. And having that population of people off the road on the train station is quite, would make a difference on the road now. Looking at also the cost of transportation with the removal of fuel subsidy, it's quite a laudable project.
Talking about the cost of transportation, Adesewa, some Lagosians, when they saw the template for the bus fare, said that it's still on the high side compared to if they have to take a commercial bus down to their destination, depending on where they are. So I want to believe that you spoke with a couple of Lagosians, a couple of people, and sought some sort of a feel from them as regards how they feel about this particular mode of transportation and the fares they have to pay. So what was their take, or what did they say?
So a lot of them that I spoke with were really excited to be on the train to start with. And then one thing that I noticed from that was that initially, yes, the announcement was that it will cost 750 naira from Marina to Mile 2. But when I used my card, and my cameraman also did the same, we realized that the deduction was just about 375 naira, which means that there was a slash, just as it was for the bus rapid transport, that's the BRT bus. So I think this is part of the palliative measures that have been laid down by the Lagos State government. So it means instead of paying the actual price of 750 naira, you now have to pay just half the price to commute yourself. And then looking at the travel time, it's quite, it's worth it to have to pay that high, because something that would naturally cost 1 hour to 2 hour trip it would now cost you just about 20 minutes. 20 minutes just because you add in the time of the stopovers. Now each stopovers cost about 90 seconds, and you are going to stop for like 5 times. I know from Marina, you stop at National Theatre, Igomu, Alaba before you now get to Mile 2. So adding those stopover time would equate to 20 minutes, but it's actually like a 15-minute trip without stopover. So having a 15-minute trip for that long journey, that's about 30 kilometers, I think it's worth the price if you are able to evade the traffic congestion on the road.
Talking about it being cost efficient. Let's look at the issue of the first phase and the second phase. We're made to understand that this is the first phase of the Blue Line launch. Now, is it in full operation? That's one. Then two, when will the second phase of the Blue Rail Line come into operation?
Yeah, so they're starting with few trips for now, because this is just like they're still like test running to see how much people are going to accept this new form of transportation in Lagos State. Don't forget that this is different from the old train that is in existence in Lagos State. This is going to be it's like something that is still encouraging the green energy kind of, because it's only using electricity, and it has its own independent electricity source, which means that you should not have to worry about the Nigerian factor of electricity going off in the middle of, the train. And then that it's not using diesel, it's not using any fuel, and there's no exhaustion that is going to cause any form of, environmental pollution, so to speak. So yes, it's not fully operational yet because they're going to limit the number of trips they take per day. Also, it's expected to take about 250,000 people. That's for the phase 1. And they're going to extend to 500,000 for phase 2. But now they're limiting to about 175,000 persons per day, from 50 to 175,000 persons per day. And then the trips have also been limited to about 12 trips instead of 76 trips. So we know that it's not full operational yet. So they're just gradually starting with the first one that's the inaugural trip that the governor took. And we already saw people coming to the train station to actually patronize these services. They've been using it since about 9:45 a.m. when the governor boarded the train. And we see more passengers coming to load their cowrie cards to board the train. And it's been like a very seamless transaction.
Finally, before I let you go, Adesewa, I'd like to find out how safe, from your observation, how safe it is, because we know that Lagos is a metropolitan environment. It's very congested. We have people who would want to sell wares and probably cross the line, and people who might not really want to adhere to rules and regulations as regards this. And this is more or less like relatively a new kind of mode of transportation, most especially for those who don't really understand how it works. So how safe it is, and how are people being told or educated as regards how to board the trains and not to congest themselves within and around the perimeter of the line?
Okay, I say there's a lot of coordination going on because you would have security personnel at every stop. We have a lot of security personnel even on the train as you board, and then I doubt there's going to be any congestion because even before you could access, going to board the train, the carry card only gives you the access, and that can only take one person at a time. So that would force you to queue up before going to board the train. And at every stop where passengers are expected to disembark and even board the train, there are security personnel at every stop. So I believe that people would be able to comply with that. And also away from the usual practice of having people sell their wares on the rail tracks, this is actually an electric track, and then people have been warned not to try to go close because they've been warned that this could cause instant electrocution. And I think this warning is enough for people to stay away from the surroundings of the rail tracks, because it's not business as usual where you have a lot of people or even cars, plying that route. So it's impossible for human beings or vehicles to actually move close to the rail tracks because it's electric, and it's quite unsafe and can cause instant death.
Adesewa, thank you so much for giving us the heads up.
Thank you very much for having me.